want. So, how to do foreplay? Just remember, like we talked about, there's the beginning, and that to me is starting right when you have make that eye contact. It can be something that here's kind of another idea that we can talk about. It could be like the initial flirting, or it could be what I call like ambiguous touching. And ambiguous touching is something too where you say, I enjoy, and this is how I kind of come across to a lot of women when they ask, well, what do you do? I go, you're going to laugh and you're probably not going to believe me. And they'll say, well, what do you mean? And I say, well, I teach women or men how to feel good about their bodies in a sexual area. And I highly recommend that you use something like that. If you're studying this right now, it's like your hobby, but you're interested in it. Like if someone said, well, what do you like to do? You're like, oh, I like to race cars, or I like to do this. Hey, you know what? You are geared towards the sexual idea. So it's something that's important to you. It's something that you like to study. You've got interest in it. So say it. Let them know that you think differently than most guys. And they're like, oh, so what do you mean? I go, well, I enjoy teaching women about pleasure in their bodies. For example, I go, close your eyes. This is part of like ambiguous touching. It gets their senses thinking a little bit differently. So I could just say, close your eyes and tell me if this feels good. I take my hand and perhaps I just kind of like rub it up their arm. Real light, real slow. I go, that feels good, doesn't it? Once again, there's a tag word. And they say, yes. And I go, keep your eyes closed, and I'm going to touch you somewhere else now. And you let that time kind of stop in between. And you can see that their breathing will usually change, and you can mention it. And then you kind of go right to their ear with real light without them touching. They don't know what's coming, but all of a sudden it kind of shocks them. They're like, and they start breathing. And I go, that feels good too, doesn't it? And then you can go down to all the way down by their ankle, like, bend over and do it that way. And all of a sudden you're creating all this sensation in your mind. You're creating this anticipation. And that could be simple and easy right from the start. And you can say, there's so many more things I can do to you and touch you. You could take a whole session like that and just do ambiguous touching. If you did that for 45 minutes and enjoyed your time, that in itself is an amazing thing to experience. You could put on music. This is another aspect of it. Like I said, I'm just kind of throwing things out there because there's so much in my head about all this kind of stuff that there is no one way. So, for example, you could put, let's just say Mozart, and it was there, and you were just kind of touching them, playing the piano almost on their skin. And you stop and you could do whatever you want. You could be kind of more ambient music. It could be slowly touching. It could be, touching just around their vagina without touching it. It could be going around their nipple. It could be coming down their neck. It could be right on their lips. There's so much to do to get that woman's body tuned up and turned on. And then every once in a while, when you can see that their body's responding and they're into it and you could say that they want more, then every once in a while you could just do a quick little direct touch. And that could just be like, they're not expecting it, and then all of a sudden, boom, you just hit them right on the clit with a nice, long, slow touch. And just kind of drag it there, or you could lightly touch it or tap it, or push down with your palm of the hand. There's so many different ways to do this, but remember, this is all about foreplay. Many people get caught in the linear thinking of it. It's bigger than that. This is kind of nonlinear. This is taking it over here, touching here, being direct here, being ambivalent over here, or ambiguous in their touching. It's just one of those things that's really cool. I'm going to mention it again. The only reason that I'm going over all this stuff is because I want you to go home. I want you to think about this. When you dream, you could dream about all new kind of techniques and things to go for so that you wake up and you're like really wanting to explore. Foreplay is about exploring in a different direction. It's about exploring how far you can go non-physically to allow her to enjoy all the different benefits of the touching and things like this. So, like I said, I really want you to think about that. The mental aspect, once again, it's not linear. It's how you choose to be. This is the big part. As a modern day sexual man, you create, you choose how the interaction wants to be. That's your desire. There's no one else like you. So get outside the box. Represent yourself as a person who's studied, who enjoys this, who can do whatever he wants because that's who you are. You're that guy. You're a guy who likes and enjoys teaching women about pleasure for their body. Always know that you can go directly for sex. Sometimes they think that you're going to go on to this long tangent of foreplay, but in the middle of it, you just, boom, you take their pants, you pull it down, you pull their skirt down, and you bend them over and you put your dick right in them. That is a big part of it. That's kind of breaking things up. It's all about what I call fractionization. Fractionization in hypnosis is like, let's just say I take a person down through hypnosis and I'm taking them down. There comes a point where you almost can't go any further because it's like their mind's not sure if it's safe or whatever. So you go, okay, you get them to a certain point and then you bring them back up. 3, 2, 1. Okay, open up your eyes. Take a deep breath. See, and that was good, right? It feels good. Okay, good. Now close your eyes again. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boom, you get them a little deeper. And then you take them back up and you go back in. It's the same thing with foreplay. It's give, it's take. Get them wanting things. Take it right then when you want it as well. Basically, you create the vibe. Foreplay is about slowing down. It's about creating the experience for both of you, which is going to make sex in your relationship with this person even more meaningful. And it doesn't even have to be a relationship. I've had plenty of these where it was just a sexual thing where I was their fantasy. It's nice to be that because women, they can't put a box in you. And those are the easiest kind. You don't have to spend a lot of time. If you're a busy guy, hey, you have every right to be a modern day sexual man as long as you're upfront about it the way I believe it. And you could do things. And it's amazing that the things that women will do with you as a man who knows exactly what he wants, they won't do with other guys. They want that fantasy. They want the experience of being with a person who's going to separate themselves from what they're used to, and they may only get one chance in their entire life to explore that. So be okay with being the fantasy. Be okay with just allowing a person to have that experience. And I can't tell you how many times I've had women that just say, thank you. You're the only guy who's ever kind of explored that side with me and allowed me to feel safe and secure in being sexual to that level. So it's a really good bonus for people, and that's the way it is. So take that. And like I said, always set the frame around this stuff. If you want a relationship, cool. You want the relationship. If you're not interested in the relationship, just say, hey, this is just a hobby I enjoy doing, and set it up that way so you're not getting backlash. Because when you do this kind of stuff, women can get attached to you. And you can always set it when you're just like, it's going to be like our special time, like a teacher or whatever. And I always come from that angle so I don't get involved with the women that are looking for something. I just don't even put it out there. Just work it from the outside in, which is like the foreplay.